to Manch Talk. I'm Tammy Simmons-Garth, right?
And I'm Carla Garrick.
Oh,
well, clearly we're on the bowl here today, folks.
Yeah, Carla couldn't find her tripod. I left my phone home. It's just...
It's kind of the end of the year.
I know.
And
you know what's funny?
there it is. So this is the other tripod. Oops. Oh, no. So I have to deeply apologize to my darling husband.
I was thinking, well, why don't you just leave one in your car? But I'm like, I'm not going to suggest it. Apparently you do. It's over there.
So apparently I leave one somewhere. Anyway, it is the giant mystery of the tripod for the Facebook Lives.
Yeah,
and
we found it.
We were just lamenting before the time Tammy and I both have this dynamic at home where it's like, don't move my stuff, but invariably someone will move your stuff and then you can't find it. But now I have to apologize because I assumed Louis had moved my stuff, but he hadn't. I had forgotten my stuff. So there you go, folks.
So yeah, it's hard to believe that. So I was looking at my calendar because we're doing some things. You know, we got different things. We're going to see the Nutcracker and stuff, like different things that I'm trying to. I always like to keep track of. You know, like which week, how many things I have to do this week, because that way the week does. And all of a sudden, Dan goes, so what do we got coming up? And I'm like, well, we're doing this, and then we got this, and then we're going to the Nutcracker.
Did you go to the Pops?
No, we went to the Pops a couple of years ago. And then we've got, you know, the AFP Christmas party, and then the MRC meeting, and then I go like this, oh, crap, and then it's Christmas. Like
I know.
I was like, oh, there's not another week in there. And I was like, holy cow.
Yeah, because it's Louis' birthday's on the 18th, yep. So I was like, okay, Sunday we got to go do fun stuff, and then you're like,
Saturday,
oh my God, it's Christmas, and
so the 18th is Sunday or is 18th Monday?
Monday.
Okay, so Saturday is Jenny's adoption day.
Oh, cute!
Yeah, I finally remembered to put it on my calendar.
How old is she now?
6. Well, that's her adoption day, not her birthday.
Wow.
We think her birthday is probably.
Oh, was she an adoptee?
We adopted her.
I didn't know that.
We got her from Alabama.
Oh wow,
she's
so
from Alabama, and December. And it was funny because I don't remember who it was. Somebody posted like adopting dogs and how it takes them 2 weeks to get acclimated to where they are, and then it takes them 2 months to get this. And I went back and looked at the pictures. On the way home, she's sprawled out on Dan's lap. Same day, there's the two of them laying on the floor together. I'm like, yeah, it took her forever to get acclimated to Dan. So yeah, 6 years, hard to believe.
She's so cute. And then we're actually getting Friends' little, I don't even know what he is, a Boston...
Oh, Luigi or whatever his name
Alfredo.
is. Alfredo.
He's like the puggy Boston Terrier or something. I mean, he's kind of...
He's crazy dog.
I don't even know how rude this is, but in South Africa, we call them pavement specials.
Well, but it's one of those little, like, dogs. He's funny.
But he's so cute.
And I tease her all the time, and now I can never remember Alfredo because I call him linguine and cannoli, and, you know.
So we're going to be looking after him.
Awesome.
And Obi loves him,
that's right,
so that's all great. And then our neighbors who have the giant schnauzer, they've been starting to do little play dates. So everything is good in the dog world. Yeah. How is it in the real world for us humans?
Fine. I did, when we were, just before we started to tape, you were talking about, I don't even know what, it made me think, you know, I get that, like, if I buy something on Amazon, that Google probably knows that I buy that on Amazon.
I think Google knows, and I think the NSA knows.
So I think there's, like, people underestimate how your shopping habits are tracked from your credit card and from all sorts of sources, right? And then, obviously, there's the whole, like, if I say, you know, elephant balloons, will I get an ad for elephant balloons? You know, whatever, right?
Don't ever talk about sex toys near your phone.
Then I think there's also the part of us that thinks everything is intentional where it might just be a coincidence. I mean, there is a part of it. So to get a load of this, I go to the liquor store yesterday because there's a deal going on and all that stuff, right? And I'm stocking up for my sock swap in January and get it out of the way because apparently Christmas is in 2 weeks.
I should order my socks. I was remiss last year.
So I was buying cranberry liqueur, Flag Hill cranberry liqueur, which was in this tall, skinny bottle. So I'm looking at it, looking on the shelf, and I can't find it. But there was a tall, skinny bottle, same shape. It was called like Bellini or something with a B, and it was a blackberry liqueur. But same bottle, right? And I picked it up. I did not say it out loud. I know I didn't, because who would I have been talking to in the liquor store? And I just thought, well, I don't really need blackberry. Like, don't stick to the list. I see a Facebook ad for the same product today. And I thought,
I wonder, maybe you did say it out loud.
No, because I was by myself.
But sometimes we're like, do I need BlackBerry? No.
It was just really, I saw it and I was like, well, that's an unusual one. Like, but then I thought, well, I hate to sound totally crazy, but and I don't think that this is the case, but this is the paranoia part of me. Like, there could be an RFID chip in the bottle that when I walk by and hasn't spent enough time in front of it, it wants to put it. I mean, that's how crazy
because I
it is.
definitely do think they do track your literal eyeball movement. So, they can tell sort of, with YouTube, they can tell how long you watch because you click or you hesitate or whatever. I think there's just crazy stuff going on. I mean, I've been playing with the AI because I upgraded. I was on the wait list for quite a while, and it's so interesting. So it's $20 now a month. So that's 160, whatever,
whatever
it is. Oh my God. For the year, right?
Right.
But this tool is so robust. I think it's just gonna.
It is bizarre. It's super amazing, and then it's super sad in a way because I was a graphic designer. So how can a human? I mean, they can.
So you can't really compete anymore on. So by way of example, for the folks back home, when Tammy saw this, right? So I was like, I finally have the graphics one, the Dolly one with the inputs, right? And I played with the Dolly maybe a year ago when it came out. I remember we talked about it on the show. And it was pretty... Like, actually, it was 2 years ago because it was when I was running for office. And I remember I wanted to do a very... who's the pop art guy, Andy Warhol, kind of soup can. And then I was going to do my own clam chowder thing, and I was going to make a postcard, and I was going to do it as my mailing.
In your head, and you try to get it to come out on paper.
Well, because I thought, okay, that would actually be useful, right? Like we give everyone spends all this money on politics to literally put junk mail in your inbox, right? Whether it's in your emails or physically just killing trees nonstop to send us crap we don't want, right? So I thought, I would give people a recipe. That's useful.
Neat.
You can stick it on your fridge and whatever. And the Dolly made the weirdest design. Like, it had like Thai lettering for the clam. It was like this weird color. It wasn't really even a soup. I mean, it was a soup can, but now they're just...
It's amazing. So... Yeah.
I mean, I inputted like Queen Quill, right? That's my nickname. And I was like, let's do like an avatar that I can create. And I was like, Queen Quill of the pine trees or something. And it was just...
It is.
And watching it iterate. And the minute I told it, I mean, it made one punk-ish version, which I actually really liked. But then I said, so it had like straps, thigh straps and stuff, and like long socks. It was kind of like punk tartan short skirt, kind of sexy. But then I was like, put knives and guns on the thigh straps, right? And then it turned it into a dude. And I was like, that's an interesting jump. So girls aren't allowed to have weapons, anyway. So the AI is going to change.
Well, it's going to change some things. I had an interesting question for Dan this morning because he says go out to X and look up Tesla something. It's one of the robotics section. And there's a video there of this human-shaped robot who, I mean, they have really mastered. I mean, his hands were really amazing and everything. And I just looked at Dan and I go, so what's our fixation on making robots look like us?
Oh, I think it's for when they take over.
I think some people have the wrong reasons because they want it to be like us so they can take over. But I was like, but seriously, and he looked at me and I go, no. He goes, well, because we make things. They make robots to be able to do the same things that a human can do. So if a human can pick something up and put it down, you want to... And I'm like, I get it, but why does that have to look like us? And then
I think it's for humans.
It is. It's probably so that we are scared of it. He did say Elon has a very specific safety checks. The robots have to be more brittle than us. Well, so that they can be so that you could like
Yeah,
crush it.
yeah.
They cannot be as strong. Like they can't lift as much weight. So,
So-
there are a lot of interesting things.
So the first rule of robotics was first do no harm. The robots were supposed to be like their one manifest rule was you can't kill humans.
Right.
But then
There's an awful lot of
guess
movies
what?
out there.
The powers that be, and of course the military is always
Yeah.
in on all of this. We're like, we're gonna make drones, and that way we'll just be able to kill people
Without
and
feeling like we're really killing people.
and no one talks about this, but I think it was 2015, and it was either in Dallas or Houston. It was somewhere in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy who had shot at police, I believe, and he was holed up in some parking lot, and they rolled in a robot and blew the guy up
Yeah.
in a parking lot
mean,
in Texas
don't get me wrong,
with no rule of law, with no, like, we're going to try and arrest you or
Right.
anything.
Wow.
And so we've already, like, walked down that line.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. I think there are different mindsets. I don't think Elon Musk is trying to build that type of robot per
No,
se.
but
it is interesting that it is interesting that like as a society we do have to. It's fine to have advancements in technology. Like if for the people who don't want any advancement in technology, well, that's just naive.
Oh, no,
However, you have to make it so that mechanical object can't harm that human.
Well, yeah. So two other examples, and I'm pro tech. Like I want to go to Mars one
Yeah.
day. Like hey Elon, hi. But we have to
It's weird.
know what we're doing.
just
So
really
the
weird.
two ones I wanted to tell was I saw one, and this is older now as well, maybe in the past 2 years. It was a teenager playing against a robot arm in a game of chess. And in chess, if you lift your finger off, your move is done. So if you take your finger off the piece, technically you're done with your move. And the kid took his piece like off for a millisecond and then moved it back when he realized he wanted to make another move. And the robot arm came out and broke his head.
Yeah.
Okay. So that seems
That would
like
have to be. But there's an example. Like that's not. I don't believe at that point. Like somebody had to instruct the robot that if there's an illegal move, you should act on it.
So that would be the question, right? So maybe someone
Right.
could go hack the code, or we could take
Right.
that code and put it in the AI algorithms and see what they kick out. That was the one, and then the other one that I saw that was like in the last couple of months, which I found sort of terrifying, was one of the more humanoid robots. And she actually had a pretty face, and they brought the robot online, and she was looking in a mirror, and you could see her
Like trying to
recognize, be like, oh, what's happening? And then like frown and get all like, rah, and then stopped. And I was like, holy me.
Did it again. Oh, too funny.
So, all right.
So anyways, nothing pressing. I didn't bring anything pressing. Do you have anything pressing?
No, so I mean, I did see that the Boys and Girls Club did find a home.
I did see that, and I read it in the original thing. There was some people who were pushing back, and I was like, "See, now this to me is more appropriate than where they were looking at Parkside, because this is on property owned by Manchester Housing Authority."
Right.
So this is the actual community and neighborhood that they are looking
They're
to
trying
serve.
to serve.
It's not next to a school,
Right.
And it's on publicly. I mean, Manchester
Right.
Housing Authority isn't technically the government, but it's the sister, and so this is.
Is that a federal thing?
No,
Or
but
no,
I think
it's one of those no one knows
I think it's kind of
things.
like Manchester Housing's kind of like Manchester Transit or the airport. Like they're a side arm, but they do have their own. They aren't dictated to by the alderman.
I see. So anyway, just for folks who might not know, so last year, or it might even have been the year before, there was this proposal to put in a Boys and Girls Club in some community center. It was sort of botched from the start. No one talked to the neighbors. People were unhappy about where they were going to place it. They were going to rip out a literal green space to put in this massive building with all these parking lots. So the neighborhood and the community, sort of spearheaded both by me and Tammy, and other people who live, literally, I was one house over, were like, is this the right place for this?
You know,
and so the Stebbins family, to their credit, the people who are funding part of this, listen to us. So I always want to acknowledge that, because I think it's important. You're going to say that,
but I'm going to say, and then I read in one of these articles, it isn't in this one, of course, where they said, well, the original plan to be at the Parkside location had to be eliminated because of promises made regarding the location of the garden. It was just very oddly worded. I give them credit for not backing out.
Well, I actually think what happened there, just from an activist perspective, because we've been doing this for such a long time, we knew from the start, go in, record everything, get them on the record. And because we recorded that first meeting at the school where they got up and they said they wouldn't be building into the hill and they would find a place for the garden.
And then they weren't.
And we had them on the record. And then when they designed it or had the architects look, I think they were like, man, we're not going to be able to fit this in anywhere. And they realized, because I also told them, that if you go back on your word, you will regret it.
Yep.
And I'm glad they listened, because honestly, you want to put a community center where the community wants it.
Right. And I mean, there was literally, like, when I saw it, there was one person who commented who I don't want to be denigrating to. What's the word I want? Denigrating?
I don't know.
I don't want to be speaking poorly of every single person that lives in subsidized housing, but Manchester Housing Authority is subsidized housing. There should be there is give and take, in my opinion, when you get subsidies from the government. There should be.
Is this the housing place? Was it you or someone who was telling me that all the apartments on the top floor are closed
I don't know.
In this development because of some
strange
something reason where I was just like, that doesn't sound good.
This is the one up on anyways, the woman was saying, well, so
behind Rock Rimmon?
Rock Rimmon down towards Namask Lake. Yeah. So, a woman was like, well, they didn't tell us, and that's where my kids play. And I'm thinking, well, the thing I get it.
Well, I mean, the question becomes, do they ever learn? Because I did read that there were abutters who were like, what? No one told us about this. And I was like, so did you guys literally do the exact same thing in a different area?
I think they went to Manchester. I think what happened is, I don't think all the people living in the Manchester Housing Authority projects up there
I see.
were notified. Because they're not technically abutters. Abutters are the property owners.
Right. Okay.
And
this, but still,
I get it. And who knows? There might have been. Who knows?
It's nice to check in with your neighbors.
Speaking of
being a good neighbor,
checking in. I know very little about this, but I thought I would mention it. Next Monday, because the week of Christmas is the best time to do these things. December 18th at 6 p.m. at the Carol Rhine Center, which is on Elm Street. There is a public information meeting regarding the rehabilitation of Amoskeag and Canal Street ramp bridges. The purpose of the meeting is to present citizens with information regarding the proposed project and to solicit public input the week of Christmas, when nobody has time to do anything, in order to ensure that project decisions meet the public transportation needs, community goals, and protect and enhance the environment. So I'm glad that they're, having a public meeting. Here's the thing. No business in the world would ever have an important meeting, community-wise, the week of Christmas.
Well, so this is interesting. If this is what I think it is, it's over at the Salmon Falls, right? So it's exit 6 where the Amoskeag...
No, I don't know. I think this is the ramp.
So a couple of years ago, I remember, because I actually went to look at a really, really nice house on the Merrimack River that... where the country club is, and they're like all these houses. The proposal is actually to shut it down and have a circle there, and so it is going to impact a lot of stuff, and probably.
And I think this, because I know which project, the Exit 6 project or whatever they're talking about, which some people in that area are not happy about because they concurrently just come down Front Street or whatever, and they won't be able to, so they'll have to get on the highway and go around.
I think because that's going to dead end. So, but that street is then So it would be where exit, anyway.
So I think this
on Monday, perhaps
is,
if you live in that area, sort of on into Hooksett.
Yeah,
over
it says
there,
the Amoskeag eastbound. And the Canal Street ramp bridges. So I'm thinking now this is the city's portion. So the state is the exit 6 off of 93. Right. And then you come across the Amoskeag Bridge.
Yeah, so I think it's that whole area.
Now you've got the part near like the Armory.
Where I was just going to say where the National Guard is. So anyway, if you're in that area, you may want to go to this meeting on Monday.
So that is Monday the 18th. So this coming Monday at 6 p.m. at the Carol Ryan Center. I did want to mention that. Another thing that I'm amazed at how many people say they've lived in the city for so long and then don't understand this. So, like it or not, alternate street parking, the winter parking rules are in effect December 1st. I realize there is no snow, and personally, I don't think they should enforce the odd even parking ban until at least we have some snow.
Why would they enforce it until there's a reason?
Well, I mean, once we have snow, then I can understand enforcing it straight through. But what if we never get snow? So everybody's got to disrupt their parking. So anyways, the way it works now is not the way it worked, say, 5 years ago. Now odd even means by month. So because December is the 12th month, which is an even number, during the month of December, everybody that lives where there's two side parking, not on streets with only one side parking, like, I don't know if it would impact your street. It didn't impact Parker Street because we only had parking on one side of the street. And I'm sure there's exceptions. You must park on the even numbered side of the road. But they do it for a whole month now. So now come December 31st at midnight or whatever, everybody has to park on the odd side. Now, what I don't understand, it used to be day to day. If it was the first of the month, you parked on the odd side. If it was the second month, you parked on the even side. But the theory there was if there's a snowstorm, we could clear this side of the street, and then tomorrow we'll clear that side of the street. But if we do it by the month, how the heck do we clear? Like, I don't get that. To me, I don't.
Yeah, that
I don't get it.
And
I do feel really, really bad for people who don't have off-street parking. But part of living as an adult is realizing what you need in life. And if you have vehicles and you don't want to have to worry about where to put them during the winter storm warnings, then don't live where you don't have off-street.
Right, and I will remind people that actually down by the West Side arena does have overflow parking. They're pretty stringent, like you have to move it from 8 in the morning and stuff. But it's a big lot that isn't used as much as it could be.
What I would love to see the city do, which is have more shuttles or something, some sort, so that maybe everybody's going to the Dairyfield Park, but there's a shuttle at least back to a central location, because if you live up off of, I don't even know. Say
like
you live
Ash
up,
Street,
you live up on Upland near the projects. You have to.
On the west side.
And say the arena's full. Where do you go? Do you come across the river and then walk back? Like, it is kind of onerous. I'll give you that. Yeah.
Or find a friend with a extra spot in their driveway.
Because a lot of times,
that's a great way to meet your neighbors as well. Maybe go knock on a door and be like, hey.
Used to make deals with different neighbors, like, you shovel out the end and you can park here, and then usually it ends up going sideways. And
well, you know how it works. We all shovel, and then the plow comes and makes it all bad.
So an interesting conversation that our friend Patrick has been having. And I don't know, I haven't tried to really figure it out. He made a post about the brining process. Now, the brining thing is new. That's only been in the last couple of years.
Are we like brining turkeys? Are we cooking
the
now?
roads.
We're brining the roads. Good thing I asked.
Ice storm tonight.
Yes.
They'll send out the brining trucks with spray.
Oh, the salt and all of that.
They spray this salty
and
water
then it, like,
or whatever.
Smelts when
and that way the ice doesn't stick. And it's a thing. Like, whatever. I don't know. It's new. Like, I'd say definitely since I've been living in this house, so less than 7 years. So he was saying, what's the cost-benefit analysis? Which is fair. That's a completely fair argument. But he's saying, like, part of it was, he was saying, well, because if the roads are super clear, then people tend to drive more recklessly, which, I mean, how many times a day do you see that a car is flipped over, which is absolutely bizarre. Like, Have you even come close to ever flipping a car over? I don't even know how you'd go about flipping a car over, right?
No, but I also, because I'm a nervous driver with Louis because we were in an accident once where an ambulance broadsided my side of the car. And, when I'm trying to like talk myself down from the experience, I'm always like, the actual risk of being in a car accident is actually minusculely small,
I think
right?
It used to be more small. I think now people just drive like idiots. Like literally since COVID, people just don't seem to have any, you just see them and you're like, what are you doing?
I mean, I will say here in New Hampshire, we do run a lot of red lights. There are times where I'm like, I should not have gone, and then there are like 2 cars behind us.
The cost benefit analysis, right? So I was like, okay, so I can understand, I would like to know, is the brining, does the cost of brining and whatever was involved in that project reduce the amount of plowing or salting that we have to do over here? And it was as the conversation was going, sorry, Patrick, if I'm talking about this on TV, I think he was more going in, do we have to plow? And I thought, I've lived in the Northeast all but 1 year of my life, and I remember when snow gets built up and then it turns into icy and that doesn't go away.
No.
So you have,
also, when it was still that frigid, right? Like, we haven't really had those, like, insanely
that's worse
cold...
because then everything melts and then it freezes. So if you didn't salt, it's not like you're going to do one...
or the other.
The brining.
But the question, because we're going to run out of time, ultimately becomes, okay, if we're doing something new, has anyone else looked at all the other parts and sort of seen how does this fit together? I mean, maybe for government to function, we need some people who can look at problems holistically and kind of go, what is the landscape? Right. What are we trying to do? Right. What are we accomplishing?
Well, apparently this brining thing, I think, is just a new technology.
It just sounds like a kicky, catchy new word.
So if anybody knows anything, I really actually told Patrick he should reach out to Alderman Berry and ask him to get information, because it is a very legitimate discussion to have. I don't think the discussion is whether or not we need salting or brining versus nothing.
Now I'm just hungry, guys, and I want to go brine a turkey.
We're going to run out of time.
All right.
We'll be back next week for one more episode for the year.
I guess.
Which is crazy.
Actually, I don't. Are we? Because they're closed over Christmas. That's the week after.
That's the following week. We got one more.
All right. So one more of this, folks. I know you can't wait. But until then, take care.